This is another Adventures League story. So let me just shift my camera a little bit because we have a bit of a glare from the sun over there. But anyway, yesterday I was at Adventures League, which is why there was no videos except for me playing D&D with my little brother and doing that before that. But yesterday I'm going to try and start making sure I get the name of each adventurer, so that way I can properly label them. So that way I don't have to worry about putting them in episode putting the number to them. I can just I'm just going to put down the title of the adventure. Now, my party for Adventurers League was actually quite large. I sadly did not get the information of one of them, except it was a human noble paladin. So that's all the information I have on that one particular character. Now, some of these characters are quite funny. For example, some of them I've actually played with before. We have Gilliard Kelphead. He is a Triton, and he's a Triton Tempest Cleric, level 3. Now, he kept doing fish puns, but again, that was like to be expected. Now, mind you, some of the other party members were doing... Sorry, hold on, my external hard drive cable's all tangled. But yeah, there were other people doing fish puns along with him. Then we had, once again, now I actually played with this player before, the previous adventure, which involved a green hag and some sort of pact with the Fae in a small village. Sadly, I did not cover that video. I can't find my notes. So, yeah. Actually, wait, did I cover that video? I feel like I did. Did I? Anyway, we have Richard Everhard, the 5th. Which again is funny because, what's the nickname for Richard? Yeah, he's a polearm user as well. He likes to use the shaft a lot. He's a human fighter variant. He actually just reached level 3 and he's going Battle Master. He wants to control the battlefield a lot. He makes a lot of use of, I believe it's the Sentinel fee. He's a really good tank. He actually always makes sure he's in a position to keep the enemies away from us. Now, mind you, there was one point in the adventure where sadly it was an ambush, so he couldn't really do it that much. But again, he always, even from the previous adventure, he always tries to put himself in a position to protect the rest of the party, which is very good. Then we have Ephraim, a half-elf wild magic sorcerer. This was a level 1 wild magic sorcerer. Now again, he did a lot of fire. He actually dealt a good bit of damage, but we'll get into that later. Then we had Draj, a hill dwarf, another cleric, but this time life domain level 2. We had cut down this handwriting. Tara, I'm guessing that's it. Tara, a half-elf bard, also level 1. Now, I had to mark this down because it's just hilarious. Her character is adventuring because she has to repay student loans. She's still part of college. She hasn't graduated from the Bard's College yet, so she's adventuring to repay her college debt. It was just hilarious. And then we have Cicero. He is a half-elf cleric, knowledge domain. Then, as I said, we had my character, the level 3 tiefling wizard, specialized in necromancy. And then we had the paladin, who I believe was level 1. There was no mentioning of an oath or anything, but yeah. But they had divine smite, so I'm a bit. But yeah, we all were hanging out. Hold on, let me get to my notes. Where did I put my notes? The scroll thief. My notes were all written in pencil, so they're a bit shaded. That's the scroll. Here we go. Here's my notes. Okay. We were all hanging out in the Cracked Crown. Well, actually, no. We were all in the Madame Mordain's tea house, where we all introduced our characters. And then we all went off to look for a job. There were no postings at the tea house, so we went to a little tavern called the Cracked Crown, where we were then approached by a middle-aged woman who was a member of the Black Fist mercenary company. Now, this company acts as the police and guard of Flan. They also seem to be running Flan, because I believe their leader is in charge of everything. Let's see. Her rank is knight, which struck us as she was able to progress a little bit, but then she hasn't been. But we got the impression that the reason why she hasn't been advanced is because she refuses to play the games that the rest of the Black Fists are, which are often heavily corrupt. She wants to be honest, and she has a tiny little office, which our DMs described as a cupboard with a hole in it caused by a hammer. But it's technically an office. It has a window, which is what Richard said. Now, her name was Elaide Barrel. She was offering 50 gold pieces as a reward for her services. Now, apparently there was a stream of thefts. Sadly, I do not have all the names down. There was the office of Aya, which is a local weave expert. She's an arcane practitioner, and she studies the weave primarily. Then we had Martian Faust, a nobleman who's, again, his home was robbed of another book, as well. Let's see. Check my notes. I have too many notes. Yeah, damn it. I did not write down the dwarf's name. But yeah, another dwarf, a book was stolen. Now, she was in charge. She was put in charge of this because the rest of the Black Fists weren't. They don't care about stolen books, and she was approached by one Castor Brandywine, who works in this massive library that oversees like a lot of different books. You know, in terms of things for Flan. The lords and they keep what are the books called again? They keep records. We have to just some of them yesterday. Lineage books for nobles. Like they keep records of the nobles of Flan. They also keep the records of the history of Flan. Like they record everything. They also have a lot of arcane lore and many other scribes. They have like loads of scribes that they have to keep turning out. A lot. Like it was the Mantor's Library, I believe it's called. Now, so we all took the job. We went to see Castor Brandywine, which my character, Mortus, barged into the room and was like, "Hello, we are here to help find the books that were stolen." Straight away, she told me the way outside. Whereas she then invited the rest of the party in. We were then explained that, you know, there's nothing really connecting the books, and that this is not getting as much Black Fist coverage as she would hope. She was truly desperate to get this investigated, it seems. So yeah, she tells us that she gives us some information about some of the people that their books were stolen from. They were all happening in the same area, the Scholar Square. So therefore, like, and in all cases, only a single book. And she explained that the books themselves are not out of the ordinary, with the exception of one. I believe it was the Treaty of the Weave. Now, there was a book about just, general. It was a collection of theories about the weave, because no one understands it. So the Mantor's library collected all this lore, and they all have it in one book. Again, it's no one author. It's comprised of many different theories and whatnot, and it was on loan from the library to one Aya, and again, an arcane practitioner who specializes in the weave. So, none beats fresh tea in the morning. But so, Aya was our first destination. Now, Caster Brandywine offered us more money if we retrieve the books, especially the books that belonged to the library. She wants them returned. So off we went. Upon reaching the office of Aya, we discovered that she also teaches some local nobles about magic. Now, mind you, though, she was a bit disappointed that her students had no talent, and the fact that they're all just doing this as a hobby. They're not true practitioners. One thing I really find interesting about Aya is she had a grey monkey familiar. She also was playing more off oh wow, it's such a tragedy. Thank you for she was over flattery, which I found suspicious, but again I kept it to myself because it eventually led to nothing. She showed us where she kept the book. She kept it in a pristine glass case with runes around it, and eventually, now upon some of our party members investigated the locks. They were expertly opened with little to no effort, and then through me and I believe one of the party members investigated that in order to disable these runes, you have to have high level of arcane knowledge. No, just knowledge. No, you don't have to be a caster, but you just have to have high arcane knowledge to know how to disrupt these runes. There's one of the runes was sabotaged with a little bit of acid. Now again, I was like, okay, we're looking at someone who knows stuff about arcane. Which one of the party members was like, no, or just someone with acid. But me and him kept going back and forth about yeah, but they needed to know that the acid would work. Just because you might slightly skew it with acid, just because you have acid doesn't mean you automatically know it will disable the alarm rather than setting it off. But anyway, Arya explained to us that the weave information was nothing in particular. She was worried that this will give the Lord Sage, the runner of the library, the massive library, an excuse to take back all the books that she has on loan from there, which it will be really detrimental to her profession as well as her own research into the weave and other such subjects. We assured her that we will get her book back, and we'll make sure. She gave us a note which was to aid us in terms of talking to the Lord Sage. Next, we went to near a local dwarf. He was an ex-adventurer who lost his arm to an owlbear, I believe it was. He did not like my character one bit. The only person my character really got along with throughout this adventure was the arcane wizard Aya. But yeah, this dwarf just didn't like me. We showed up. He was watching his daughter fight in the ring. He lost his wife to what was it? I think there was mention of a mind flare. But yeah, so he raised his daughter. She's his best student. He's not that big fan of some of his other students, but again, he needs to earn money. For gold, he'll let you practice, but then it was hinted at that for 2 gold, he'll tell you what you did wrong. So two of our party members, Gil and one other person. Gil and I believe it was one of our clerics. It was our life cleric, so cleric life. Yeah, it was Draj, our hill dwarf. Gil went into the arena first to challenge his Dar. Now you had to remove your armor and use their weapons. I was trying to be helpful, so I whispered to Gil, here's something that might help you. And I attempted to cast Major. Now, folks, as you know, I don't know how many. I can't remember how many of these I actually export onto YouTube. But there's a running team in my Adventurers League games. I have horrible luck, like unreal horrible luck. It's completely baffling how bad it is at times. Like I tend to roll consistently under 10, with one or two occasional really good rolls. Now, luckily, I'm an arcane caster, which means if I have some spells that don't, it's not really on me, such as ones that make my enemies do saving throws, and I also have magic missile. But anyway, so I tried casting Mage Armor on the guy because he wasn't wearing armor, which would have raised his. He had 12 AC, which would have raised it to 13 plus Dex, giving him a much better advantage. Now, my sleight of hand rolled so poorly, it was like a nat 1. Oh, by the way, not the only nat 1 in the campaign, in this adventure, folks. I rolled about 4 total, if at last I counted. But anyway, oh god, that was horrible luck. Just, I pity the players who have to party with me. So yeah, Gil. I was caught not by the dwarf, the one-armed dwarf. I was caught by his Dar. Instead of hitting me, she swipes in between the legs of Gil, which caused Gil to be rolling on the ground and be like, "It was him, not me. It was him." And my character's like, now Richard tried to help out the next challenger, which was Draj, in a less direct way. He was with his glaive. He was trying to walk around to where there was sun, and but she wasn't having any of it. She kept turning to make sure Richard was behind her, so that the light would not shine in her eyes. She was clever, and I actually enjoyed that bit. Draj in the end won and got the respect of both the hill dwarf, both of the champion, as well as her father, which allowed us to get more information on the book, which recorded. It was the memoirs of a local hero of Flan, Rin something. He was a ranger. He had some dealings with this sort of demon that took over a bronze dragon, Tyrax. The ceiling of Tyrax. Yeah, that was right. So yeah. So it was apparently sealed in the Radiant Pond. Now again, upon hearing that, I was like, okay, it seems like two things are connecting to magic. So maybe that's what's going on here. Yeah. So we decided, okay. I decided at this point, I was like, all right, I'm going to try and use my criminal contacts to get more information. I didn't tell the party. I just slipped away, which led to nothing. Now, another member of our guild had some dealings with the local thieves guild that was in Flan, known as the Welcomers. He had some favor with them, so he showed up to them and was asked them for information. They were like, "Yeah, we had nothing to do with it. We're not interested in stealing books." So yeah, two of us. I got nothing. I knew that. I found out that there was no local fence bought any books, and there's no real deals for books. Whereas Gil discovered through his contacts that the welcomers, the local Thieves Guild, has no interest in stealing these books, and they were being honest with them. So, well, the rest of the party went to see the noble. This noble was really into himself and into his position, and into his family, but thanks to our noble paladin, it was quickly discovered that he was hiding some, and they managed to wrestle it out of him. He was not, in fact, a noble. Apparently, 200 years ago, the actual noble, the last head of the family, that he died, and there was no other relatives. He was the last living member of that family, and his great grandfather was like, "Hey, there's no one to dispute this. Yeah, let's move in." So he ends up taking over. So that's how his family got into the position of being noble, while not being actual nobles. Now, his book was the book on that was stolen from him was just a simple heraldry, such as the Lords and Ladies of Flan. It just recorded some general history of who was born and that type of stuff. It wasn't even that well protected. It wasn't, to this noble, it wasn't anything special. It was in a safe with a single trap. So again, we were led, which sort of debunked my theory on everything connecting back to magic, because some of the party members asked, did the family have a history of magic? Did they have wizards or sorcerers in the family or anything like that? And hold on, folks, sorry about this. Sorry, folks. My dog was barking at my next door neighbour. Don't know why he does that. Sorry, anyway. But yeah, there's no history of magic at all in the family. No powerful magical items either, so again. Oh, I completely banked. Aya. Turns out from her shop, some other items were stolen. A scroll of, I believe it was detect magic, hold person, dispel magic, and fireball. Those 3 scrolls are stolen, and a horn of blasting. So, yeah. So again, this supports my theory that everything is going back to magic. This threw a monkey wrench into that theory. So we were like, okay, we have to drop the magic thing when I re-caught up with the group. Now, Gil was able to catch up with the group much faster than I. Instead of looking into the noble, I looked for the party. And I tried doing that with the help of my raven, my familiar. Didn't pan out because at one point, as the party went back to the Cracked Crown to discuss things, and well, they were approached by a hooded figure who appeared to be an elf, who said, "Hey, I heard you've been looking into the books. The Whisperers have some information for you, and follow me." And he tried going down the dark alleyway. At which point Gil spoke up. He was like, no, because I was just at the Welcomers and they said they had nothing to do with it. At which point the hooded figure began to leg it. Now the rest of the party began rushing forward, but the thief started, the person kept tossing stuff down, which again our paladin had no issue with. She just took her axe and boom, cut the barrels in half. Like, so the party was, just keeping up with him. Eventually, he was led that they chased him down an alley with a T-section alley with a dead end on both sides. They had him cornered. Our fighter, approached him and he had his weapon, his pole arm up, and he was like, "Surrender." It was an ambush. Now, mind you, they're quickly able to deal with him, but luckily our bard decided to look up, and she saw two other figures who then dropped down. One of them fell into the trash. The other managed to just barely miss one of the other players. At which point, another character came out from behind and started firing at them. Our sorcerer went down. Our Royal Magic Sorcerer. He get down very quickly in that fight. But again, not before he did some damage. And when he was brought back up, he, missed. He hit her with a firebolt as the party quickly dealt with the ambushers. We were knocking them all out. Especially the one that led us down here. Gil held... No, it wasn't Gil. It was it was Cicero, our knowledge domain cleric. He hold-personed the would-be assassin, or ambusher, I suppose. And then the rest of the party just started nailing him. Mind you though, our paladin walked up to him while he was frozen from the spell and targeted his knee, basically taking it out. Now, upon seeing that things were going wrong, one of the female ambushers decided to start scaling the building, at which point our sorcerer was like, "Oh no, you don't." Our Gil tossed a spear, hitting her. She was slightly pinned, and our sorcerer shot magic at her. Now, mind you, he hit her, dealt damage, but it didn't work out all too well because fire plus CE equals bad idea. So, the buildings quickly began burning, at which point my familiar saw the fire and I was like, okay, they must be there. I was hoping to see your woman and then maybe follow her, but apparently the amount of smoke that was being created from the burned buildings completely covered our escape. So I arrive on scene as Richard was calling for aid to put the fire. Now look again, Flan has druids, has wizards, has sorcerers, and clerics even. So those that had like any type of nature magic or summoning magic were able to quickly put out the fire. Through some really epic convincing. Actually, no, hold on. Before that, we'll get into the funny bit. I tried to aid in the interrogation of the would-be ambusher, or actually, no, I would say would-be assassin. Did not work out too well. I tried using Cause Fear twice, so I'm spending 2 of my spell slots on them. Actually, I don't even think I was actually able to use it twice on someone who passed it. I'll have to double check that at some point. But yeah, I was trying to scarecrow this would-be assassin. Did not work. He was resisting all of us until the bar was like, charm person. It turns out he failed and he started listening to her, and she managed to convince him to tell her everything he knows, which was a man hired them to attack us and ambush us. He's a very low ranking member of the cult of dragons, and he was just told, go do this by a man, and he was also given a note, and the note was covered in blue ink, which we saw early on in the session from Brandywine, and it was signed B, so that all led us to assume it was Brandywine. But again, we'll get to that later. While he was being arrested, our bard managed to convince him to give up his cultish and criminal ways and to, just live a good life. She rolled that 20. So our DM had it so that this ambusher was like, you know what? I always wanted to be a florist. So that's when we all started breaking our bollocks laughing. And then the guards were like, yeah, he's most likely going to hang. She then rolled to convince them to let him off. Like, to let him, I was like, sorry, to rehabilitate him into society. She manages to roll to over 20, and she convinces them. So, like, we're all just sitting there as this bard is convincing people to do what she wants left and right. After that, I was like, okay, I'm sending my familiar with a note to the person, to the Black Fist member who hired us, and ask her to bring a group of Black Fists that she can get to come arrest, Brandywine, or to at least escort somewhere where we can question her. So we all head off to the library. To quote Sakura, to the library. That's one of my favorite quotes from Avatar, when he just shouts to the library. Anyway, so we arrive at the library, and we decide to go in. We look for Irwin. Some of our party members are trying first looks for the exits. There's many different exits. It's a really big library, but we still find her. And then we approach her. I try and ask her, like, look, would you mind coming us to the Black Fists? You know, we've discovered some information. I'm trying to not let it slip that she's our suspect. She doesn't want to go, which again makes us more suspicious, to the point where Gil, our Tempest cleric, decides to hold person her, which she fails, which gets us into huge trouble with the local guards of the library. They come running up with their weapons. And then some other people started approaching, and we tried to explain to them, all our evidence is so far pointing to her. Like from our point of view, she's most likely the suspect. The DM kept battering to it. Was clear. I don't know if he was purposely trying to mislead us, or if this was him being merciful, because he kept talking about how. Now, in the end, we were wrong, but again, I was like, some of us were trying to I was under the impression that like he's trying to trick us. He's trying to pull a wool over our eyes, but no, he was just being very merciful. Because a load of other people started showing up with B, their names starting with B, and they were all wearing the distinctive blue ink. Apparently, it's the ink that they use, for scribing. But yeah, we were all just like, okay. In the end, we release her, and she brings us to the Lord Sage. Now, the Lord Sage, the rest of the group, once we were at the Lord Sage, we all throw Gil under the bus. And even Gil threw himself under the bus, saying, like, this had no... this was purely me. It was not something the group decided to do. Now, the Lord Sage then decided to expand our pool of suspects. He was like, okay, there's 2 people who didn't show up today after some of our party members asked him some good questions. One was an Allison, and another was something Greenleaf, I believe. Apparently, they also had some issues with some local scribes as well. So potentially because of those 2 scribes that turned out to be Dragon Cult members and who robbed from the library, he was like, okay, so let's look at some of the register of those who came in with them, as well as people who are not showing up today. 2 came up, which was very special because apparently they never missed a day. One of them, in fact, was so dedicated that he nobody's ever been late, and he was only ever late once, and that's because he was badly injured after being attacked by a rat. But the thing is, he still came in. So we're like, okay, so it's one of these 2 people. The Lord Sage then said it's most likely Allison, because again, the other one was so dedicated to his job. So yeah, we're like, okay, let's go look for Allison then. So yeah, we decided to go into the archives, where I believe Allison was supposed to be. Caster Brandywine, semi-forgiving us, decided to bring us to act as our guide through the archives. And apparently, it's extremely easy to get lost down there and not stray off the path. Me being paranoid of potential enemies ahead of us, I decided to slink back. Stay a little bit, like, we had a party member using dancing lights, so I was going to follow the lights in the darkness. But I was trying to stay back so their light would not touch me, though. It was pointless, sadly. We get to a large room, which appeared to have a slumped body over the thing. Apparently, they were attacked from behind. A quick blow to the back of the head killed them. We found some of the books, and we quickly, packed them away. It was something Greenleaf, so we're like, damn, wow. Well, luckily we're here for Allison, but yeah, pity for him. So we were like, oh god. Then an explosion happened that was emanating from beneath us. Some of us got hit in the head with some books. I took some damage. And Caster dislocated her arm. She informed us that came from below, like the special vaults, like where they keep really powerful magical items and scrolls and whatnot. So she escorted us to the entrance of it. It's like, you go, I have to go. I need to get medical attention. I assume she was also going to get help. So we're running down. We find an open chest next to a huge hole in the wall, which was seemingly caused by explosion. So my character goes. So we decide to take some short rest to heal up. I recharged my magic, so I had full spell slots. We searched the chest and discovered a headband of intellect. What else was there? Oh my god, I'm blanking. A potion of greater healing. But yeah, so we rushed in. Oh, we also found the pieces of the Horn of Blasting. So the Horn of Blasting was used to create the opening. Inside, we then went through the hole and found 2 carrion crawlers. No. Before we entered the hole, when we went down into the vaults, we'll call them, because the archives was 1 floor up, so we'll call them the vaults. When we first entered the vaults, we were attacked by 3 shadows. There we go. Now, the shadows gave our melee fighters a real tough chance. For example, one of the shadows quickly took down our sorcerer. One shadow drained 2 strength from Richard, and then from our paladin, she was drained 4 strength. So like our strength based fighters were losing their strength. Wow, I said strength a lot in that conversation. But anyway, so yeah. But the thing is, they went down very quickly. It didn't even reach my turn by the time that they were all gone. They dropped really quickly. So yeah, then we found the chest and thing. Now, luckily for me, I took the party was like, I took the headband of intellect. We decided that I'll carry it. I decided, it may be a cursed object, but again, I didn't know what it was. I actually didn't even know what headband of intellect did. When some of the players told me out in character, out of character, I was like, it might be something else, but it may not be cursed. One way to find out, boom, put on. The DM, 3 meters earlier, was like, oh, it's cursed. I was like, oh, fuck. But it wasn't. I was like, oh my god. That was, again, folks, do not just attune to items. Again, I technically I shouldn't have done that, but I was like, you know what? I haven't done anything funny. Everyone else has done something funny. I'm going to do something funny, and even if it is cursed, it would be hilarious. So I just, it worked out grand though. My intelligence was raised to 19, so I went from 16 to 19. So I didn't have a +4 modifier. But still, it was still a bit of a So we ran into then 3 carrion crawlers. They were badly burnt. They looked injured, so they start charging us. Once again, I rolled bad initiative. So sadly, I did not get a chance to fight them. They were badly injured already. They were eating a corpse of another carrion crawler, so there was a fight. The rest of the party managed to take them down very quickly after we all rest up and healed. So we continue pursuing them. Mind you, though, me and our bard got covered in sewage at one point, which wasn't nice. But again, it made it so that it was hilarious. We found this huge river that was underground. We decided to quickly clean ourselves up and we kept moving on, which then led us down the road of Flam. So, following the road, we then came to a swamp. We were still tracking her. Luckily enough, some of our party members were able to find her footprints. She seemingly was badly injured. We assumed from possibly opening the chest, the horn of blasting, and then the carrion cross, because we were informed by Aya that a person who does not know much about if someone is not properly prepared with the horn of blasting, can seriously injure themselves. So we pursue her. We find a cloak in the swamp. We find a cloaked figure next to a dog. Well, what we assumed was a dog. It in fact was a black dragon wormling, which is the youngest stage of a dragon's life. And it was Allison. He was, again, this is something that we all kept doing because the name Allison, and it was a male. But yeah, Allison was badly injured, covered in burns and whatnot. We assumed, most likely from fighting the carrion crawlers, that he possibly used a fireball to deal with them and then escape. And then maybe a trap was triggered in the chest, which he would have triggered if he was searching through it. And then there's the horn of blast, and so Allison was looking really bad. But but again, we approached because we couldn't exactly sneak up, and we tried talking to the dragon, we were trying to do this diplomatically. My character says, all we want is her. Him. That's all we want. We are not after you. But then the dragon was like, oh, you can have him. And goes to bite her, which then triggered initiative. Richard ran forward. He beat the dragon's initiative. He was our only hope to save Allison. So he gets in front of Allison, thinking like, haha, I'll protect her. Then lair action happened. This was the dragon's lair as well. So water from a local pool swirled around to Richard's leg and pulled him 20 feet away from the dragon and had him prone. It then came to the dragon, so we were like, fuck. The dragon bit down on Allison and dragged him to try and use him as a human shield. Some of the pirate members weren't having it. They all maneuvered around and started attacking the dragon. I attempted a ray of enfeeblement on the dragon. I actually managed to hit, if I remember correctly. Then I had a plan, what I could do to, really stop the dragon from succeeding whatever he was doing. But before my plan got enacted, the rest of the party members completely destroyed the dragon. They were wailing on him. Our paladin, divine smite a critical hit and just was boom. Our tempest cleric used his channel divinity with shatter to deal maximum damage. Like, we're just destroying this dragon. We even managed to save Allison from the dragon's grasp. but not before our sorcerer went down again, because of the dragon used its the lair action again to summon the horde of flies, which took down the bard and the sorcerer. I was left on 4 HP. I was like, God damn! We need to end this fight now. The dragon then attempted to fly off, getting attacks of opportunity from our two melee fighters. Our paladin and our fighter, with their long ass weapons, basically skewered the dragon on their weapons. So my plan was, at some point, if the dragon attempted to escape or to do a dare, I was going to use magic missile to try and target the pouches that the dragon was wearing, which was most likely some of the books or pages that they would have taken, of note. Yeah, because again, my character has dealt with the cult before, so I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna have that. I don't care about completing the mission right now. I just want to fuck up their plans, So that's what I was planning on doing. But again, didn't work out, because again, dragon dead. So we healed the bard, we healed the sorcerer, and we began ransacking. I actually regret not getting dragon scales. I just realized we found lots of money, but I could have gotten my hands on some black dragon scales. Oh well, maybe next time. Hopefully when I'm a higher level than the dragon CR. But yeah, so we begin. We treat Allison. We convince Allison to come with us peacefully, and maybe again. We said to Allison, hey, look, you're only going to be trialed for stealing some books. It's going to not be that bad. So we bring Allison to the Black Fist. We all get paid. We got paid quite a good bit. But the thing is, we returned all the books, which put us in really good standing with some of the local people. I even got in good standing with the dwarf a little bit by casting Mending and repairing his book. Now, we decided to not turn in the fake noble. In fact, our paladin was like, "Hell on! I'm gonna actually try and use my contacts and influence in the noble society to try and legitimize your claim." And which was gotten a really good standing. Now we tried to extort as much money from this adventure as possible. The DM actually had to get up. Because he rolled a natural 20, so the DM got up, walked to the person who's in charge of hosting Adventurers League at this place, and he started whispering to him, everyone at the table, we're just all staring at them, wondering if we succeeded. No, but that noble now owes her a favor, which is something that she can cash in to help her on, on an adventure. So we apparently reached the maximum money we can earn in one adventure, which wasn't much because we had to divide. No, it wasn't. Sorry, it was a lot, but it wasn't much individually because again we were running with 8 people. So we again I believe it's 750. So yeah. I know that the XP cap is 750 for Adventurers League, so therefore I guess that must be the same cap for gold, which we reached, and 750 divided by 8 is not a lot. So in the end we all got 72 gold, which is not bad. I'm spending 10 gold on my herbs that I need for my Find Familiar spell, and also I am looking into buying a pearl so I can actually cast Identify. It's really frustrating me. And I also want to buy the thing that will allow me to cast Chromatic Orb, because that's a really good spell to prepare. But yeah, folks, it was just an amazing adventure. There was fish puns, it was just hilarious, everything that was going on. And it was really fun. the aftermath of it was we foiled the Dragon Cult's plans. We also had like an amulet from the dragon. The dragon was an agent of a larger group. We had his amulet, so the Blackfist, got a rubbing of it, and they're now handing out, like, to try and root out any more of their members, which is good. But apparently in the epilogue, it turns out Alison got out of prison and escaped. Now, sorry about that, folks. My sister came home and my dogs, dogs being excitable. But yeah, Alison got out of prison. Now, me as a Zhentarim agent, I was actually given a letter and a special task within the quest to make sure we got Alison back to the Blackfist alive, which I succeeded in, so I earned one favour. The rest of the party split up our remaining special loot that we got, which was a set of splint mail, a scroll of whole person, and a scroll of dispel magic. I decided, I got enough. I was happy. We were rolling off some of the other loot. I was happy enough with the loot I got. So again, I can always get those scrolls later on as well. They're not particularly high level scrolls, so I could potentially buy them at some later point if I actually really needed them. Which I don't, so I was just like, meh, just meh. But again, I got the really cool headband, which gives me a +4 to everything. My spell attack now is +6 instead of +5. My spell save DC is now a 14, and it's just really good to have, that item. Mind you, I still probably would like to raise my intelligence to, at some point, get to 20, to get the most out of my magic. But right now, this headband will delay that. Because again, my next level, I'm actually close to next level. I'm like one quest away. If we earn 500 XP in the next adventure, I'm level 4. And I'll be taking a feat called Infernal Constitution from Xanathar's Guide, which is really good since I took that book. And I'll be taking 2 more spells from Xanathar's Guide, since again I'm trying to take spells from there, because scrolls from the Player's Handbook are probably going to be more common. But yeah, folks, that was the Scroll Thief. Again, as I said, it was a really fun adventure. It was really fun playing investigators. Talking to the victims and all that, examining the crime scenes. I should have drank that tea when I had a chance. It is cold. I'll probably make a fresh batch right now, actually. I hope I didn't go on any too many tangents today, folks. But again, I just want to give a shout out to. I want to give another shout out to my party. Hold on. Where's my party list? Here we go. I just want to give another shout out and say thank you. To the Paladin. I'm sorry I did not get your name, so shout out to the Paladin. That's as much as I can do for you. But I wanted to say a big thank you for putting up with my characters familiar, not being able to show up and help you during the ambush. Maybe me not being too big of a help, but again, I tried. Despite my bad dice, I do try. But anyway, here, big shout out to Gilliard Kelphead. Really? Kelphead? Okay. Big shout out to the Triton Tempest Cleric, Gilliard Kelphead. A big shout out to, once again, I enjoy playing with this guy a lot. I played him before, Richard Everhard, the 5th Human Fighter. Big shout out to theif, the half-elf wild magic sorcerer. Shout out to the Hill Dwarf Cleric of Life, Draj. Tarar, the half-elf bard. Big shout out to you. You are hilarious, my good woman. And I hope you manage to pay off your college loans. Shout out to Cicero, the cartographer, knowledge domain half-elf cleric. Shout out to the DM. I do not know your name. That part of my notes is still upstairs on the adventurer's sheet log. But again, you run an amazing game. I love playing in your games. They're so fun, so enjoyable. Big shout out to the Adventurers League Dublin organization. Thank you for hosting this, and thank you to Gamers World for allowing us to play there. This is Wilful Ninja signing out. May the force be with you, and remember, especially if there's a black dragon worming, roll initiative.